You asked for it. It's here. The SCW Half Year Awards. That's right. We're going to take 2024 so far up until the present day, and we're going to give awards for the best and worst of things we've seen so far. Who is the best wrestler? Who is the best tag team? The best feud? The best show? Worst match? You get where we're going with it. And as you can see, I'm dressed up for an award show, as you should be, in a vest, because it's bloody hot where I am. But I'm joined by the one and only Mr. NXSteve in the house. NXSteve, are you looking forward to giving out some awards?
Dude, this is a struggle and a half because of it being a half year. Some of these categories are impossible to pick just through quality. Some of them are hard to pick just through meh. Really?
Well, I tell you what, there's going to be some fun categories we're going to go through, and obviously we want to know, everyone that's watching, do you agree or disagree with our thoughts? Of course, you can get involved in the comments below and leave your opinions as well, but I'm not going to waste some time getting straight into it, and we're going to give our first award now for Male Tag Team of the Year so far. So, NXSteve, who gets your vote?
At the minute, it's Judgment Day. They're the only team, I think, this year that have been a two-time champion with different lineups, because obviously Priest and Finn had them to start with, and then obviously now JD and Finn have them. That was my reason alone. That, like I said, I think they've been the most dominant tag team to this point. Sure, there probably is other teams that are more story-wise driven, but I have gone with the Judgment Day.
It's an excellent selection, the Judgment Day, like you say, with those tag team championships. They've been strong. They've been a big presence on Monday Night Raw as well, ever present, if you will. And obviously, they're the current tag team champions at the time of recording as well. So it's a very good choice from WWE. I've gone for AEW for my selection of Male Tag Team of the Year. So far, for me, it has to be the Young Bucks. Obviously, they are seen as one of the best tag teams naturally around the world, but they had an unbelievable main event. Obviously, this year, Sting's retirement match, obviously, with Darby Allin. They've got the EVP gimmick going on as well when they made their return, and they've been obnoxious, but I'll tell you what, they've been good television to see. Obviously, current AEW tag team champions as well, currently looking to make the Elite have all the gold at the moment. Of course, they've got Okada in their ranks, Jungle Boy as well, but the Young Bucks, to me, I mean, you know, they just are the standard bearer currently of tag team wrestling right now in pro wrestling, and I'm enjoying their matches each and every time.
Yeah, it's a good shout. Your answer's probably the better one, just from everything really. Like I said, I've gone with like dominant more than story driven, but I think your answer is probably the better answer.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I'm a big fan of the Judgment Day, but also a big fan of the Young Bucks as well. Dream match, anybody? Who knows? We could maybe get a definitive answer if the Forbidden Door would open that way. It doesn't seem to at the moment. We've got WWE with TNA, and of course AEW with New Japan and CMLL. We'll move on then to Female Tag Team of the Year. And as you went first last time, NXSteve, I shall take the reins this time to go first. And I'm going to give the award to Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. Obviously, have become the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions for a few months during this short calendar year that we've had so far. And of course, to be fair, they actually, every time they were champions and there was a premium live event in WWE, those titles were defended even ahead of male tag team championships. These belts seem to matter the most when Bianca and Jade held them. So for me, they're going to be my selection of female tag team of the year.
Do you know what? I didn't even think about that when doing this selection. For me, this was the hardest one because I was like, although Jade and Bianca probably is the right answer, they didn't hold them for long, which is why I've gone with the Kabuki Warriors, because they've held them for a longer period of time. They were on TV more with them. So yeah, I'd like your answer again is probably the right answer, but I went with the longevity of the Kabuki Warriors.
Hey, a big fan of the Kabuki Warriors. Obviously, Oscar and Kairi saying they had a great run as champions until losing those championships to Jade and Bianca. Unfortunately, that's not a possible match at the moment with Oscar being injured. So potentially, there could be a change towards the end of the year of your vote. But for the male, I think it's a good selection there. Obviously, for me, Bianca and Jade. But we'll move on then to the male wrestler of the year so far. NXSteve, who gets your vote?
Oh, dude, this could be a number of like 10 guys. For me, I have two winners because I couldn't split between them. My wrestler of the year last year, Will Ospreay, still maintains his space at number one because, again, he's been having, I think if you look at Meltzer's ratings, I think he's got 5 or 6 matches that are all 5-star plus with different competitors, so easy one to pick. And my other one is actually Seth Rollins, because I think his role this year, especially when you look at WrestleMania and even now with the Punk and Drew storyline, he's been playing like a supporting role for a lot of the year, and I have to give him props for that.
The thing is, the key with the supporting role is that he actually has had a key part in that supporting role. Like you say, supporting Cody on the route to WrestleMania. Obviously, come out with the Shield stuff on, even though he was actually not possible to help Cody during that WrestleMania match. And obviously, he'd already been beaten by Drew McIntyre early in the evening. But obviously, main evented night one. Like you say, he's come back at the match with Priest, and obviously now involved with the Punk stuff again, and Drew going into SummerSlam. So I totally understand that. Will Ospreay for me was a very close to being male wrestler of the year so far for me, and I think to many that's going to be the right answer, because like you say, unbelievable matches. Bryan Danielson, Swerve Strickland, Konosuke Takeshita, I mean the list goes on and on. He's been on an absolute tear in AEW since getting there. Drew McIntyre was a close shout for me, just purely because character work, I think he's been unbelievable in 2024. Swerve Strickland, of course, has continued the momentum and the wave. This will be controversial with who I have gone and selected, though. I've gone for Cody Rhodes, purely because Cody, we can't ignore, this is the half-year point while we're doing this, we cannot ignore the first quarter of this year going into WrestleMania. A WrestleMania main event was not supposed to have him in it, but a hashtag of We Want Cody was so over that it couldn't be ignored. The fact that we ended up getting Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns one more time at WrestleMania, an unbelievable main event as well. And some people will say, yes, that was brilliant, but what about since? Now, I can probably agree that perhaps maybe storytelling hasn't been as strong, but I think match quality has been there. When it's counted, Cody has delivered. And I mean, Cody's had two unbelievable matches with AJ Styles at Backlash and at Clash of the Castle. Obviously played his role in the six-man tag team match at Money in the Bank. And they had a really solid match with Logan Paul also at King and Queen of the Ring. So for me, Cody Rhodes is going to take that because, well, Roman Reigns hasn't been around since WrestleMania. Numbers are still doing pretty well for WWE, and Cody is the face. He's always the guy that's there for that company. So for me, he gets my vote.
Yeah, if you look at his achievements alone, obviously being only the second person to win back-to-back Royal Rumbles ever, obviously dethroned Roman at Mania, being so over that the crowd wanted him in that main event. He is kind of, like you said, like perfectly analysed there when you said Roman Reigns isn't around and WWE is still doing fine. It is a really good shout. Yeah, it's just, like I said, just for me, although his achievements have been great, for me, I just had to give Steph some acknowledgement.
Absolutely, totally agree with that indeed. Then Will Ospreay, like you say, had some unbelievable matches as well. This one is a subjective one. It's probably one of the most difficult ones to answer, but this one here could have its difficulties as well. Female Wrestler of the Year, and I will take the first one here for this one. I'm going to go back to AEW because there's been some unbelievable talent in WWE, but however, I just feel this performer has been head and shoulders above the wrestling industry with storytelling, some quality matches as well. It's timeless. It's timeless Tony Storm, of course. Look, to be fair, the great story with Mariah made it's playing out, still playing out to this point. We've just had the heel turn for Mariah on Tony Storm as well. Tony didn't look out for the show on Wednesday, but she's been unbelievably entertaining. Great feuds, great matches. So yeah, she gets my vote.
Do you know what? I can't agree with it. Tony has been really good this year, and obviously at the time of recording, she's now just Mariah May, I believe her name is, just at a match to face Tony Storm. That story is like really heating up now, and hopefully by the time they get to All In, it'll be ready to blow. But for me, I did have two answers, but now thinking about it, I can only have one answer. It is the hottest rising female star in WWE. It's one Tiffany Stratton. She has already had multiple World Championship matches this year. She is your Money in the Bank winner. She is guaranteed another shot at that title. She has been over with the crowd every time she's appeared on TV and on pay-per-views. She is going to have a phenomenal year. So for me, I've gone Tiffany Stratton.
Unbelievable as well. Across the world, Tiffany, where they've gone, she's been very popular, whether it's been to France, or it's been to Canada, where it's been to Australia. Tiffany time has been massively over. So yeah, it's fantastic with the accomplishments she's made in such a short time on the main roster with Money in the Bank as well. I'm sure she's going to go on to do great things with that. And like I say, almost feels like a breakout star, you could say, at this point. So yeah, fantastic choice there. And obviously for me, I'm going to stick with Tony Storm. Like I say, some great matches on pay-per-view as well. The likes of Deonna Purrazzo has been one that I thought was a highlight as well there. And obviously Mina Shirakawa as well at Forbidden Door was another great match. So yeah, I mean, for me, Tony will take that mantle here. But we're going to move on then from Wrestlers of the Year to matches, or shall we say start off with worst match of the year. NXSteve, who gets your vote?
I think you summed this one up best when I text you, and I was like, I couldn't think of a worse match, and then all of a sudden you said it, and I was like, do you know what? I have to agree. Whether it's your answer or not, I don't know. We're sure we'll find out. But it is Jimmy versus Jay at WrestleMania. This is the grandest stage of them all. It is the biggest WrestleMania of all time, and they essentially have a super kick party. And yeah, it was like I was going back through my my pay-per-view reviews that we've done all year, and I was going through my match ratings, and it genuinely is my lowest match rating of the year so far. So for me, it's Jimmy versus Jay from night one at WrestleMania.
Do you know what? It's the same answer for me, and the reason being is the fact that it's the match that came to my head first. I'm sure there's been some other matches that perhaps I didn't enjoy as much. When I think back to WrestleMania Night 1, for example, I didn't enjoy the end of the Rey Mysterio match that had the NFL players. I mean, for me, that's something that would be something I wouldn't be so invested in. But when I look at this match, this was the match that obviously was highlighted, expected to have the bigger build, expected to have the bigger play out, and expected to make a bigger star out of it. Obviously, Jey Uso's gone on to continue to have his stock risen, but Jimmy didn't come out with much glory from this, and I think that he was supposed to, and it's unfortunate, really, when it comes to it, that this match could have been so much more. When you think back to the WrestleMania main event they had as a tag team the year before, was absolutely unbelievable against Sami Zayn and KO. Unfortunately, this one just didn't have the time, just didn't have the, I suppose, the story beats to work with it either. A few things have gone a bit sideways in the storyline as well, so unfortunately, it didn't lead to a very good match when it comes to watching.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me the biggest part is that for the feud that these two are supposed to be having, this is a brother versus brother feud, and the story just wasn't there for me. Like, you could have that kind of a match on TV and it'd be fine, but again, I think for me the biggest point was the story. There just really wasn't anything coming out of Mania, and I think I don't think Jimmy's actually been back on TV since Mania. So, do you know what I mean? I think that sums it pretty much up.
It does indeed. But hopefully, before the end of the year, he will be back, maybe in some form of civil war. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe it could be a bit of bloodline antics going on, but time will tell with that. But we'll move on from the worst match of the year to what is the best match of the year so far. And it's my turn to go first. I've got to say there were some that were really standing out for me. And we mentioned Will Ospreay matches. Obviously, Bryan Danielson is an incredible match from Dynasty. Takeshita as well as another unbelievable match from Revolution. Swerve Strickland just recently at Forbidden Door. But look, sometimes you can go with the match quality, sometimes it's about being sports entertained, and sometimes it's about the magic moment. We all wanted Cody Rhodes to finish that story, and the moment that he did was unbelievable, the way it was all put together. So Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns, WrestleMania 40, that main event on night 2 for me takes match of the year, because it was a great match before all the antics that played out to the end of all the bloodline rules interference that got everybody involved. Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, we had The Rock there, The Undertaker making the cameo as well, Seth Rollins coming in. There was so many that were getting involved with this. Obviously John Cena and Solo Sikoa as well. Great stuff. Didn't actually affect the result as well. It just was beautifully done. The celebration after the match, just all of that as a package for me, it was just magic.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you totally. It is my match of the year so far as well. It's going to be very hard to beat that through the rest of the year in terms of story-wise, just because of the journey we've been on with Cody in the last 2 years since he's been back, and obviously the loss last year at Mania to reach the peak of it at WrestleMania this year when he finally secured that win. Dude, Samantha Irvin breaking down in tears, announcing him as the winner. Do you know what I mean? There was just so many emotions thrown into it. And, dude, as much as I do love a 5-star wrestling match, if you can win me over with a story, especially a well-built, delivered story, it's going to be my match of the year.
Exactly the same for me. Unfortunately, it can be where the best wrestler can put on the best wrestling matches, but sometimes the payoff to an unbelievable story, especially one that's been building for 2 years to finish. And not forget as well the story of Roman Reigns as a champion for nearly 4 years as well. It's a monumental moment, and the way it was delivered and executed was, in my opinion, near enough perfect. So yeah, match of the year for me so far. And I agree with you, this one in particular is going to be hard to move between now and the end of the year. But NXSteve, how about Feud of the year?
See, again, you could easily quite happily go with Cody versus Roman, but for me, I've gone with a story that is still going on, and it is building the greatest possible feud we've seen in years, and that is Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, asterisk Seth Rollins, because he may now be involved in this story. Dude, if you screw someone over and cost them a world title at WrestleMania, and the story that we've just had alone, because obviously we've had McIntyre going since Punk's been back. Drew has obviously been taking shots at Punk, and then we get what happened at Mania, and then from then it has just gone up and up and up. We've had them taking each other out in the backstage area. We've had personal items stolen. We've had people suspended. It is building to a point where when they finally do have this match, whether it be SummerSlam, Bad Blood, Survivor Series, whatever, I'm genuinely looking forward to how this feud is going to end.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel exactly the same. Obviously, Drew and CM Punk has been unbelievable the whole year. Someone could say, look, the stuff with The Rock being the final boss involved and the build towards WrestleMania with Cody and Roman, that stuff was unbelievable. It was. But the thing is, though, that was fantastic for the time we had it, which was a few months. This has been, like you said, the whole year with Drew and CM Punk. Drew's gone to another level. He's been salty as a heel on social media, which has been great to see. He's been putting in the one-liners as well on CM Punk each and every time. And the thing is with this feud, Punk obviously has been injured since the Royal Rumble, which was the result of Drew McIntyre. But obviously, they've managed to carry out 7 months of storyline telling in the right moments at the right time. And these two haven't wrestled yet because Punk hasn't been cleared yet. But yet, I really am invested in this. I've not got bored of it. I've not thought myself, okay, right, I'm ready for us to move on. I'm still as excited, if not more excited, to see this match. And like you say, now that Seth Rollins has sort of entered into this as well, this is probably going to help prolong this feud, in my opinion. It may even help transition a feud match with Punk and Rollins going into WrestleMania season next year. However, right now, Drew and Punk, for me, it's untouchable. It's been unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing to worry about is that the payoff doesn't deliver on the feud. That's the biggest worry. But at the minute, it's heading in all the right directions. And obviously, come into the year when we do this again for the year, we might have a better answer as to what this played out like. Well, we probably will, hopefully.
I would imagine so. If it's going all the way to WrestleMania next year, they're going to have to. I mean, they're keeping it at a great pace at the moment, but obviously, once they start where they can wrestle one another, then it's going to be hard to drag this a lot further, in my personal opinion. But we'll move on then. What has been the best show or pay-per-view, premium live event, whichever you want to call it, of the year so far for you?
I mean, there's only one right answer for me. It is WrestleMania. Obviously, night one is a bit 50-50 in some places, but night two is an absolute fantastic show from start to end. And obviously, with the main event, and obviously from even the main event from the first night where you had the tag team match between Cody, Seth, Roman, and Rock, and that it played over into the second night, and everything you went on, I thoroughly enjoyed night two. And I could easily pick a different show throughout the year, but night two is just a show I can quite happily go back and watch over and over again once a month. Do you know what I mean? And never be bored of it because I loved it so much.
It's almost flawless. This show, WrestleMania 40, it actually somehow has managed to work its way into probably top 5 manias of all time. I mean, if you're looking at the modern wrestling fan, everyone that's an older wrestling fan will say WrestleMania 17 is the best WrestleMania of all time. Younger fans now are going to say WrestleMania 40 is that show. Because like you say, night two is pretty much flawless from start to finish. It's an unbelievable show. Night one, like you say, we mentioned Jimmy and Jay early in this one. I mentioned I wasn't a big fan of the Mysterio match, but outside of that, night one as well was an incredible night as well, with some really good action in it as well. Obviously, Rhea and Becky, obviously at the tag team main events as well. So there is some good stuff in night one as well. So overall, it does take best show / pay-per-view of the year for me as well.
Yeah, and I mean, just to add on the night two as well, the fact that you had Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits versus the Final Testament, I mean, it was probably a match that most people weren't looking forward to the most over the weekend in terms of a build, but was still a great little match. For where it was on the card, it was well placed, like flawlessly from start to end. Night two is just amazing.
Yeah, it's a fantastic night too. It really, really is. And there is some great other shows as well. Obviously, mentioned Backlash is very, the crowd was so loud throughout the entire of the show, but it's really well put together, that show. You look at the AEW side, there's been some killer shows as well, but WrestleMania just felt that extra special this year. And which may come into my answer then for OMG moment of the year. We like to do this after every premium live event or pay-per-view of what has been our OMG moment of that show, but for me, one that cannot be topped, and yes, I'm going back to WrestleMania 40. It's the dong. It's the 5 minutes of madness in that main event, from pop of superstar to superstar coming in, where it's Jimmy, then Jay for the table spot, Solo, then John Cena, The Rock, and then The Undertaker. But in particular, The Undertaker's gong, because we did not expect that. We did not see that coming. Everyone thought it was going to be Austin, but the fact it was Taker, I don't know, it just gave a different energy just for that little moment of the whole thing. And I think that's going to be my OMG moment of the year, which is not easy for me to say.
Just looking back at all my OMGs that I've picked all throughout the year, they've all been a wrestling move on someone that, just like Nia Jax completely destroying Lyra Valkyria, for instance, was one of my OMG moments, because it was like, oh my God, it was just devastating. But you're absolutely right. It has to be Undertaker. When most people expected it to be Stone Cold Steve Austin, do you know what I mean? And bearing in mind that we just had that I think at that point we'd had we'd had the Shield music play as well. It was just such a fantastic surprise, and I genuinely, you verbally would have said, oh my God, at that moment. Like, you say an OMG moment but never actually say it, but that is do you know what I mean, one of those moments where you actually do go, oh my God.
Absolutely, yeah. Popped out my seat, and that's something you do when you've been a fan for nearly 30 years. It's unbelievable to see. And last but not least, best wrestling company of the year so far, in your opinion?
Dude, it's really hard to not pick WWE. Their pay-per-views all year have been fantastic. Their wrestling quality has been fantastic in most parts. Their storytelling is getting better. Like I've said previously on the show, on Raw has got 4 stories going at once. I'm thoroughly invested in all of them. You then plus in the whole NXT TNA crossover stuff as well. Dude, it is the thing that has got me back into watching NXT every week now. Do you know what I mean? Just for the fact that they're doing so, WWE are almost stepping out of their comfort zone, and they're doing stuff like this now. Dude, we've recently just had Joe Hendry main event an NXT show in a tag team match. Whoever would have thought that a TNA superstar would main event NXT? I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes over the next 6 months towards the end of the year. There isn't much they're doing wrong. They're dominating in everything otherwise, views, demographics, everything. So it's hard not to pick WWE.
Absolutely. Look, love all the companies, love TNA, I love AEW, I enjoy New Japan when I watch it, I enjoy every wrestling promotion that's out there when I get the opportunity to put my eyes on the product. But right now, you can't look past WWE. And just to say very quick, you mentioned about Joe Hendry, and obviously Jordan Grace and the Rumble would have been a great shout for this as well. Yep. It was a close second for me, but best wrestling company, it has to go to WWE, because like you say, they're firing all cylinders at the minute. And I've got to say, when it comes to a WWE show, that's, if I had a choice of, if everything was on the same time on the same night, I would go for WWE first. And that's when you know right now that they are putting out the best stuff. They're filling up the house each and every time as well when a show is on. They even had a consecutive number of all these sellout shows that they were having at one point as well. It just goes on to show the company right now, the product, it's really hot, and it's only going to get hotter as well with the move to Netflix coming in 2025 as well. It just feels like WWE is a company that's just on the rise once again. It's becoming, as Rock said, wrestling is cool again. It's kind of got that vibe. So yeah, WWE has to take this one for me.
The fact that they've just now brought John Cena back as well for his retirement tour, that next year is going to be insane with that as well. The fact that I think he's confirmed to be doing something like 35 to 40 dates next year. There's a potential for him to win that 17th championship, make him the greatest champion in WWE history. So they're going up and up and up. It's going to get to the point where they're going to go, well, what do we do now? Because we've done all the best bits.
Absolutely. And to be fair, Cena's retirement could come as an OMG moment as well, but thankfully we've got a year to enjoy it, at least at this particular one, which is quite exciting as well. But all in all, a lot of fun to do this NXT with you. Thank you for joining us for the half year awards. Is there anything you'd like to add before we close off the video today?
Looking forward to the end of year awards. I imagine some of these answers I've given today will probably change. I strongly feel that some of them will probably stay the same though by the time we get to the end of the year.
That's the beauty of this. I mean, ultimately, this is what we feel now, and we could see another 6 months of wrestling, and we could feel very different with a lot of our answers come the end of the year. You never know, we might have some more categories by the end of the year as well. Is anything we missed out? Let us know in the comments below if there's any categories we should be adding to this as well. And obviously, we'll put as well all of the categories we do have in the pinned at the top of the comments, and you can fill in and give us your answers of what you think are the best so far in 2024. But that's all from us anyway. Big thanks to NXSteve for taking part in this video, and big thanks to everyone that's been watching as well. If you want to see more on the channel, check out these videos on the side of your screen right now. And of course, we're starting the road to SummerSlam seasons. Expect many videos between now and SummerSlam. Thank you for watching. Look after yourselves. We'll see you for the next video.